Hello and welcome to BharatShakti.in. I'm Brigadier Chatterjee. Today is a very special day. It's a very special occasion, and I have a very special guest. Today is the 196th Gunners Day. They celebrate it every year on this particular day, the 28th of September. And what's so special about my guest? What's special is I have with me the Director General Artillery, Lieutenant General Tarun Chawla. Welcome to the show, General. Right, General, let's go into the issues straight away. And the first issue, I think, is, well, let me start by congratulating you on your Gunners Day. Of course, I'm also a gunner, so all of us celebrate it together. If you have a message for gunners, you could please go ahead.
Most certainly, Brigadier Chatterjee. Well, the Regiment of Artillery is celebrating its 196th Gunners Day. And through your platform, I wish to offer my congratulations as also felicitations to all my fellow gunners, officers, JCOs, other ranks, veteran gunners, and assure them that Regiment of Artillery is on the path of modernization. Much of it we shall talk about later. Also, at this point of time, I humbly bow my head towards those gunners, our fallen brethren, who made the supreme sacrifice in the line of duty for this great nation of ours. I want to exhort all my fellow gunners, JCOs, Jawans, officers, that they should continue on the path of professionalism, showing excellence in whatever they do, whether it is operations, whether it is training, whether it is sports, or even some adventure activities. Times are changing and we need to upscale our levels of professionalism and continue to rededicate ourselves in the service of the Indian Artillery, the Indian Army, and of course, this great nation of ours.
Thank you, General. I think that's a wonderful message. I'm sure it will resonate through the Gunner family. Let me get down to one of the issues that you yourself pointed out during this message. And that issue is modernization. Now, I'm aware that there's modernization going on all over, but let's cut it into bits so that it's a little clearer. We'll talk first about guns and howitzers. What are you doing? As I see it, perhaps the pace of modernization has to go a little faster than what's doing now.
Yeah, you touched it rightly, that we are going through a process of modernization. Most of the people would be aware that till now the Indian Artillery was heavily reliant on the age-old Indian field gun, the light field gun, which are of the 105 mm caliber. And I must say, they are still doing a lot of good service to the artillery. We have large numbers of the Russian equipment, that is the 130 millimeter M46 guns, which are still a very robust gun, and it is still doing good service in lot of areas where they can be deployed and employed. But yes, both these systems are almost more than 30 years they have done service to the Indian Artillery. So it is time now to replace them with some state-of-the-art gun systems. As you would be aware, that Regiment of Artillery has taken a decision that 155 millimeter will going to be the standard caliber of the gun systems in the artillery. Now, 155 millimeter could be a 39 caliber gun, a 45 caliber gun, or even a 52 caliber gun. It could be a towed gun, it could be a self-propelled tracked gun, or it could even be a mounted gun. So we have made out a field artillery rationalization plan in which each one of them gets its share as per the requirement which is there of the Indian Army. I must say that a lot has happened in the last 4 to 5 years, and I'll spell it out. Today, we have almost finished the operationalization of the 7th Regiment of the ultralight howitzers, which of course we procured through the foreign military sales route. 7 regiments and 1 medium battery was to be equipped, and we are with the last medium regiment. So this is a 155 39 caliber gun bought for a very specific purpose, largely for deployment on our northern borders in the eastern part of the country, because this is a very light gun, can be carried underslung, a Chinook helicopter, which the Air Force has acquired. So this is something which has happened in the last 2 years or so. And very soon, maybe in a month from now, the 7th Regiment would have also got operationalized. Then, of course, we have the Dhanush gun system. Of course, Dhanush, everybody is aware, is on the old transfer of technology of the Bofors gun. I can say with pride that this year, about 2 months ago, we operationalized the 1st Dhanush Regiment, and it fired successfully, and it is now being deployed in the areas where it is required.
Dhanush is what caliber?
Dhanush is, sir, 155 mm 45 caliber gun. It is not the same, it is not a copy of the Bofors gun. Allow me to say that. It is a electronic upgrade as also a mechanical upgrade of the Bofors gun. I must hasten to add here, the Bofors gun are still doing good service to the Regiment of Artillery and shall continue to do so for some more time to come. Then I come to the Sharang project, which was undertaken some 15 years ago, where we decided that the basic structure of the 130 millimeter gun could be utilized, and on that we could mount a 155 millimeter barrel, again 45 caliber. And initially this was done with a foreign OEM, with Soltum, and 9 regiments were upgunned, I would say, in this manner. But now this has been taken on by our own ordnance factories. Now they have different names, but largely the Advanced Weapons and Equipment India Limited, they are looking at it. And I am proud to say that the 4th Sharang Regiment, which is being upgunned indigenously, is in the process. 3 regiments have already been upgunned and they are deployed. And the 4th is in the process. And we have also fed more 130 guns, 130 millimeter guns to the ordnance factories to upgun them as per a time schedule that has been laid out. And of course, there is a project with the DRDO and their production partners, 2 production partners of the much talked of advanced towed artillery gun system, that is the ATAGS. It went through successful field trials just about 3 months ago. And of course, as you are aware, that guns do undergo other trials in terms of maintainability and the DGQA evaluation. That is being hastened up. I would say concurrent trials are going on at various DGQA labs, and very soon these trials will get completed and the rest of the process will take on. And so this is a 52 caliber gun, indigenously developed by the DRDO, indigenously produced by its production partners. So very soon that will get inducted into the Regiment of Artillery.
By production partner, you mean Larsen Toubro and Bharat?
By production partners, for the ATAGS gun, it is the Bharat Forge Limited and the Tata Advanced Systems Limited. So these are the four pillars on which the artillery will rest in times to come. However, as I brought out earlier, uh, we are still looking at a towed gun system, which we are aware that now the indigenous industry is quite capable of producing one. So very soon we've already issued a request for information, and this process will be carried forward. We also sought the views of the domestic industry into their capabilities of a mounted gun system. We have got very encouraging feedback from the indigenous industry, and for this we shall very soon we shall go in for seeking an acceptance of necessity from the Defence Acquisition Council. So all in all, the situation on the guns front is very encouraging. I'm quite upbeat about it.
I'm sure we are all quite upbeat after your briefing. Only thing I hope you can maintain the timelines, but not to why have doubts about it. I'm sure you'll maintain the timelines. Let's go ahead a little bit again further. And one of your major tasks, other than shooting at the enemy, is surveillance. So what about your surveillance and locating equipment? What about the modernization there?
Very rightly brought out, Brigadier Chatterjee. SATA, surveillance and target acquisition, is another very important facet of the Regiment of Artillery. And some 20 years ago, we went abroad and picked up ground-based surveillance equipment. Everybody calls them as LOROS, long-range recce and observation systems. We also bought battlefield surveillance radars, and we also bought the weapon locating radars, the famous ANTPQ-37s. It was immediately after the Kargil War. But today, with pride, I can say that Indian industry has risen to the occasion, and an indigenously built LOROS, the indigenous long-range observation system, is there, and it will soon be trial evaluated. A number of industry partners have come together, and they are offering us similar characteristics, if not better, or in some cases even better, with a day camera, a TI night camera, and a shortwave infrared camera, which can see through conditions of poor visibility. So that much for the indigenization of the LOROS. Of course, ANTPQ-37 we bought in one tranche from the US. After that, the Indian DPSU, Bharat Electronics, done us good by providing the Swati weapon locating radar, which has been inducted into the Regiment of Artillery in big numbers. And if there is a requirement, which we are in the process of analyzing, we shall go in for some more numbers. So situation as of now on the surveillance is good. The domestic industry is aware of our requirements, and they are continuously doing their R&D to meet our requirements.
All right, go a little further. We've talked about guns, we've talked about surveillance, we've talked about target acquisition, and you're talking about a lot of longer ranges that you're achieving. Now, one big requirement for the artillery is to find out whether the fall-off shot is there on the target or to correct it onto the target. Now, you do not have your drones now. In any case, they were not meant for this kind of a job. So how are you ensuring that you will be able to observe the target and better? Are you getting some UAVs, etc., anything?
Very interesting. Today, the observation post officer or the battery commander sitting on the forward defended localities his visibility is restricted to the next hill, and what is happening over the hill, he is somewhat unaware. I wouldn't say blind, but for this we are going in for aerial observation systems, and these are we are looking at two varieties. On one side, where the ranges of my guns and rockets is growing, I need observation capability to look at the fall-off shot and also to observe the post-strike damage. So we are looking at this point of time, the I would call them RPAs in two categories. One is with which we will equip are the forward observation officers, the FOOs, as also the battery commanders. These would be in the range of about 20 kilometers, the range at which they can fly, and about an endurance time of about 90 minutes to 120 minutes to something more than that. Also, now that we have rockets and long-range guns, so in order to see their fall-off shot, we are also going through the emergency procurement procedure as also through a make-to procedure, UAVs or RPAs with ranges of about 60 to 80 to even go on to 100 kilometers. This will give us a great fillip to our observation of our long-range systems. Like you are aware, the Pinaka rocket system already is capable of firing at certain longer ranges. So we should be able to observe the fall-off shot of those rockets. So we are looking at two kinds of RPAs, runway independent largely, which will not require a runway. If it is there, it will be a man-portable kind of a ground control station like a laptop with a OP officer, and he'll be able to control the 15 kilometer or the 20 kilometer RPA that he launches himself and recovers himself. And of course, there will be a longer range RPA system, 80 to 100, which we should look at whether to equip it with our units or maybe the SATA regiments in times to come. We are looking at both of them.
No, I haven't got that last bit. You want an independent unit or with the unit, integral to the gun unit?
You are aware that our SATA regiments were initially holding the searchers and the helmets.
Yeah.
Of course, they have got transferred to aviation. So some kind of institutional expertise or memory does exist.
Definitely.
So it would be good that if we equip the SATA regiments and which are available at the core level, which can look at this kind of capability.
Let me talk about what you said just now, rocket artillery. Now, there's a lot happening on the rocket artillery front. There's a huge increase in ranges, etc. Can you give us an update on rocket artillery with you?
Initially, we procured the Grad system from the Russians, which is a 1 to 2 millimeter multi-barrel rocket launcher. Each launcher has got 40 tubes. Then we went on to procure the Smersh from the Russians. This happened sometimes in 2007, 8, 9. Well, after that, the ARD of our DRDO continued their work on an indigenous rocket system and came out with Pinaka, which I must say is a success story, not only in terms of the launcher, but also the bouquet of ammunition which comes along with Pinaka. Initially, it was only a pre-fragmented rocket with 37.5 kilometers of range. I'm aware the ARD has recently done trials, and against their own expectation of about 45 kilometers, they have achieved ranges even more than that. So that is one rocket which is capable of achieving ranges 47, 48 kilometers. Of course, this has been tried out in the plains, the Pokhran ranges as of now. In addition, they are also looking at the area denial munitions. Area denial munitions, type 1, type 2, type 3, which is a dual purpose improved conventional munition. The rocket has got a lot of bomblets which will be dispersed when the rocket bursts on the target area. And those bomblets which fall on a soft-skinned vehicle or even on a tank will do damage there. And those which fall on the ground will have a fragmentation effect. So this is one category of rockets that the DRDO, ARD is developing, and they are in very advanced stages of development. And the third, of which we are all very excited, is the guided extended range rocket, which can be fired from a Pinaka launcher, which the ARD claims that they will be able to achieve ranges of 75 kilometers. And this is where I link it with what I said earlier, that if a guided extended range rocket can fire at 75, I need observation at 75. So I am looking at RPS systems, which can give me ranges anywhere between 60 to 80 to 100 kilometers. So the situation is very good. We have our own indigenous launcher, which is giving us all types of ammunition. And we've thrown a challenge to the DRDO to look at even enhancing the ranges further.
Can we dwell a little more on ammunition? Would you like to talk anything more? What about gun ammunition? You see, part of the function of sending in projectile furthest possible is the guns, and the part is a question of design of the projectile. Is there anything more being thought of as far as 155 ammunition is concerned, or any other ammunition?
You are an old gunner yourself, and you would have operated with gun systems which initially had a Burale shell.
I had nothing more than 30 kilometers of reach.
So thereafter, in the early part of this century, we switched over to Nashcam shell, which is basically a shell which has nubs on the shell body, basically to stabilize the shell. But now we are looking at back to Burale ammunition for the 155, since it is the standard caliber of all artillery guns. So we are looking at Burale ammunition for 155 millimeter guns, all calibers, 39, 45, 52. And DRDO is developing this ammunition. As far as the charge system goes, you have operated in an era where you used to have brass cartridges. But today, after the Bofors guns came, we switched over to charge bags. And today, with great pride, I can say the Ordnance Factory at Nalanda produces the bimodular charge system, and which is doing good service and which has been used in trials of all the new gun systems that are coming. Of course, I'm sure the R&D will continue, and better propellant geometry and better propellants which can do the needful as far as propelling the shell is concerned, and with very little residue or debris, that kind of a research and development activity will always remain on. So the situation is stable on the shells, as also on the charge bags or the propulsion systems. But if you allow me, I will add on here that now we are looking at precision systems. And that is very important.
We'd definitely like to know about it in case.
Yeah, you saw the Armenia-Azerbaijan war, as also in the ongoing conflict, because modern wars will be televised into our drawing rooms, and any kind of a collateral damage will just not be acceptable world over. So if a target has to be taken out at a long range, it has to be taken out very precisely. So with this in mind, we have procured the Excalibur ammunition system from the US. I am happy to announce that this ammunition has been successfully validated not only in the plains at the Pokhran ranges, but also in the mountains, in the high altitude regions. Very recently, we've been able to do this. And through your platform, I wish to share that this kind of a capability exists in the Indian artillery today to fire at long ranges with the Excalibur ammunition, which is, as of now, compatible with our 155 39 caliber ultralight howitzers. So that capability also exists. But at the same time, now we are looking at indigenization in this field also. So there are two projects. One is a Make 2 project, which is making, the industry has been given a challenge to develop these terminally guided munitions. As also the DRDO is looking at a course correction fuse. So in the final stages of the trajectory of the shell, the course corrector function takes on and guides it onto the target to achieve very near hits, if not the hit on the target itself. So both these things will, I'm very sure, see the light of the day in times to come. And till then, of course, we have the Excalibur. If there is a requirement, I'm sure it will do the need.
Right, General, let's leave the equipment out of focus now, and let's focus now on the manpower that you have. Now, there is a different set of parameters for which you have to get prepared, or you have already prepared yourself, I'm sure. There's this Agniveers coming in. Your training period is shortened. So how are you handling this? Do you have enough capacity to train them? What's your take on it?
Yes, the man behind the machine is equally important, if not more. A lot of emphasis is there on training, both at my regimental centers, as you are aware, one at Nasik and the other at Hyderabad. We've remodeled our training curriculum to make sure that not much of turbulence is there. We will have, as mandated by the Adjutant General's branch, basic military training, which will be applicable for all Agniveers who will join us. And of course, the advanced military training, certainly you are aware, it is a trade-based training. We have the gunners, we have the technical assistants, we have the drivers, and we have radio operators, and we have surveyors, largely 5 main trades in Regiment of Artillery. So we modeled their training, that is the advanced military training, in such a way so that they don't miss out on the critical part. And whatever is left, once these Agniveers get posted to their units, this training will continue. So if there is anything on which a particular Agniveer is found a little weak against, because this is basic training at the center that is given. The actual training, you know it all happens in the unit. When that boy gets meshed with his gun detachment and learns so much from the experience of his gun detachment commander and the other detachment numbers. So that kind of training, we will insist, continues in all gunner stations so that these boys, in a very short span of time, are fully capable of handling the gun systems of the future. I look at it from 2 points. It is not only those 25% people who will stay back after 4 years, or 25% of Agniveers who will stay back after 4 years. Those 75% of the Agniveers which will go back into the society will carry a lot of intangible qualities with them, qualities of physical fitness, discipline, so on and so forth, a positive attitude and a mindset. So I assure you, and through your platform, I wish to assure everybody that training at the regimental centers will not be diluted in any manner. If required, we will even put the boys through a little extra training. The physical fitness will be given prime importance, and as the system lays down the assessment methodology, we will follow that. And this will continue after they go to their units. I must add that I'm also looking very critically at the training of my officer cadre in the School of Artillery. So in consultation with the Commandant School of Artillery, we are having regular brainstorming sessions as to how to upskill our young officers, our middle rank officers, officers who do the long gunnery staff course in the changing times where more technology is coming into artillery, that our syllabi is continuously revised and is in tune with the needs of the time.
Right. Thank you. General, one more question, and let's broaden the scope a bit. I'm talking about the Ukraine war. Any lessons that you thought were relevant for us, or even if not relevant for us, relevant for artillery as such, anywhere?
Yeah, Ukraine war, first of all, has broken 2 big myths. That first of all, people thought that conventional wars will never take place, and today we are almost touching 200 days of this war. So conventional war has happened. Secondly, we all felt that future wars will be short, swift, and people will intervene and separate the warring parties. Even that myth has been broken. So we need to be prepared. The gunners need to be prepared. Yes, if you look at how the war has been fought, the Russia-Ukraine war, I give a lot of credit to the gunners on the both sides. The Russians had, of course, the advantage of the big military hardware that they had, whether they had the Grad rocket systems, the Smersh rocket systems, or the Uragan rocket systems, and which were heavier caliber and caused a lot of damage initially. But if you look on the other side also, the amount of military hardware that was provided by the West to Ukraine largely comprised of gun systems and ammunition. And if I were to add on to that, ISR systems and observation systems. So all that is part of the Indian artillery today. So the lesson that I draw is that we need to continuously keep thinking, see what systems were helpful to the opposing parties, and remodel our training and our equipment profile so that when the need arises, we are up for the task.
One last question, General, and it's generic. It's not about your equipment, not about your manpower, but in Kargil we did a fabulous job, gunners. I would say the whole war was really won because of gunners. But it's taken us time, but we've ultimately rechristened .5140 as gunner. So you were possibly there when on that particular occasion. Can you just share it with us?
Yeah, we all know that when the Operation Vijay or the Kargil conflict that took place, the gunners played a big role. And that is the time the word Bofors was on the lips of every Indian, and the kind of havoc that was caused by the guns on whatever infiltration that had taken place. Yes, a lot of credit was given to gunners, but dare I say that it was not formalized or institutionalized. We have quotes by the then Chief of the Army Staff, the Corps Commander 15 Corps, full of praise for the role and the job done by the gunners, very ably led by the brigade commander then of the 8th Mountain Artillery Brigade, then Brigadier Lakhvinder Singh, and his team of commanding officers. So we took up a case that in order to recognize and formally appreciate the role of the gunners during the Kargil War, if one of the hill features, of course, gunners rained havoc on almost all the hill features which the enemy had occupied, and he was evicted. But one of the hill features, and then we homed on to .5140 as the feature, which is now being christened as the Gun Hill. We did a small function or a ceremony at the Kargil War Memorial on the 30th of July this year. And it was my honor to lead the event. And I was joined in by, of course, Brigadier Lakhvinder, later Major General Lakhvinder, and all my seniors who commanded their units at that point in time. Of course, all of them are very senior and respected veterans, gunners today. They all joined me, and we laid wreath at the Kargil War Memorial. I was joined in also by the co-commander of 14 Corps and the GOC 8 Mountain Dev of the day. And thereafter, we all got onto a hill feature and we recounted all these veterans. They recounted how the war was fought and how the fire plans were made and how observation was achieved and the much talked of direct indirect firing concept that was evolved at that point of time. So it was a very solemn ceremony, and it has institutionalized or formally acknowledged the stupendous role played by the gunners during the Kargil War. and we are all proud of it.
Right, Jill. Thank you so much. Thank you once again for Ghana State. Just a couple of days away when we'll, I'm sure, meet again, all Ghanas here in the same venue. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.